I wish that I could tell you that the load you carry will get lighter. It won't. As time passes, you'll find it will get heavier. The mountain that you need to climb will get higher. The ocean that you need to cross will get wider. Trust me when I tell you that you don't want to wait. Indecision is a decision.
Was the only person that didn't have a window. They literally put me in the room with all the computer servers. But starting from there, I knew I could wow people because I was willing to grind it out.
And Carl, our videographer, had his family over, and we live around, at that time we lived around the corner from each other. Now we live on the same block. Random, right? Christmas was over, we just going to the house, just eating dinner. It just was a random night.
A decision to fail, a decision to waste your potential. Time won't wait for you. Time doesn't wait for anyone. The clock keeps ticking in life. There are no timeouts, no breaks, and no rest stops. Remember something else, that if plan A doesn't work, there are 25 other letters in the alphabet. This isn't 3 strikes and you're out. This isn't baseball, it's the real world. And that means there's no limit on how many times you're allowed to try.
And that is one of the most valuable things that anybody can do. All right, now that company, we grew to the point where in 2010, it was a technology company. It was named as the 42nd fastest growing technology company in North America. I had suffered a lot. I hadn't taken a day off in like 6.5 years, except for Christmas, in fairness. I wouldn't let my wife go on a vacation because I was so hell-bent to get rich. And then I realized, almost 8.5 years in, here we are. We've just been named the 42nd fastest growing technology company in North America. We're making money, we're winning awards. Beautiful conference room overlooking the Pacific Ocean, and I turn to my partners and I say, I'm completely miserable, I quit.
The only time your dream dies is when you decide to quit. You need to be ready for what's to come. When the darkness sets in, when you feel like you can't take another step forward, believe in yourself. You will keep going, you will persevere. You will weather the storm. Trust in yourself, the kind of trust a bird has. You see, the bird doesn't put its trust in the branch. It puts its trust in its own wings, so when the branch breaks, it can still fly. Again, you can weather any storm. You can withstand anything the world throws at you.
Remember that the safest path brings the least reward. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start believing in what could go right. There may be 1,000,000 reasons you're afraid to follow your dreams, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go after what your heart desires. Dare to face your fears. Dare to take risks. Dare to be better.
And I hand back your equity. I'm not going to cross the finish line. I don't think I should get anything for that. And they said what are now famous words for me, we could do this without you, but we don't want to. And in that moment, I realized what had been missing. I realized the reason I was living the cliche of money can't buy happiness. I was realizing why what Tony Robbins says about success without fulfillment being the worst kind of failure was because what I cared about was connection. I'd gotten into it and gotten to know these guys, and along the way had become so myopically focused on this promise I'd made to myself as a kid that I never stopped to ask, why do I want to get rich? What is it that I plan to do with the money? The money in and of itself, it's inert. It just sits there. I'm sure you guys have a bunch of it in your pocket right now and it doesn't do anything, but it has latent potential. But the question is, what are you going to do with that potential?
Don't let pride confuse your tears. You've got to let that out. Sometimes you've got to let it go. When I lost my mom years ago, that was the hardest thing that I had to deal with. And to this day, I still think about that woman that gave me life. And I have my moments when I'm happy about the good times, but I also have my moments when she left this world. But that's just one thing. That's just one circumstance. There are many circumstances I can talk about, but I continue to move on. Everybody gets knocked down no matter how tough you think you are, you're going to fall. And when you fall, sometimes you fall real hard.
And somehow we got to talking, and Carl's wife is from Barbados and she didn't have citizenship. So unfortunately, she was in the States without citizenship, and so she had to stay in school in order to eventually get her citizenship. So she did her master's degree, and she was in her PhD. And it was weird. It was just like, yo, E.T., I don't know how it happened, But it was like, yo, E.T., my wife is going to get her degree before you get yours. Like, I'm an American citizen. Like, I'd already been in the program for a few years, and and it was, I don't know, but have you ever heard, like, when it's your time?
Ground is a hard surface, and I'm going to tell you something, it ain't going to move because you're laying on it, so you need to rise up, and you need to rise above it, and you need to start moving when you get knocked down. How long are you going to stay down? When you lose your job, when you lose that loved one, regardless if it's your husband, your wife, your child, whatever it is, do you have the ability to go through the hurt and the pain of that loss regardless of what you're going through? The best time you know that you are strong is when you're at the weakest point of your life. When you are so far down at home, you're looking up and you don't see no light, but yet you know there's an end to this darkness. That's when you'll find out just how strong you really are. This is a process, and you have to hurt just a little bit so you can understand what it means to be strong.
Like, it's that moment. It's like, enough is enough. I can't tell you. People have asked me before, Eric, when you get your PhD? I'm like, I'll get it done. E.T., how far are you in the process? Finish all my coursework. I just got to write the dissertation. But it was something about that night that was different. It was almost the end of the year. And I remember Carl, listen to me very closely, guys. I'm being real with you. I didn't even have a conversation with Carl. Like, we never even talked about it afterwards. I never said anything to him about it, but I felt this guilt. I felt like this embarrassment. Like, and for real, he wasn't like speaking directly to me. He was just saying, hey, E, I think my wife's probably gonna finish her degree before you finish yours. And I'm talking about, like, it pierced. Like, it pierced, and I just remember, like, we were talking afterwards, and I didn't hear anything. Like, have you ever been in a conversation and it just shifts, and somebody's talking to you, and like you can't hear the words that are coming out of their mouth? I didn't hear anything he said. I just kept it like, E, when are you gonna get this done, E?
Misery, it will continue to do all that is necessary to succeed. Misery is on a mission to take everything away from you, because your mind is very powerful. Bring in the goodness, moving with a purpose, conditioning your mind is what this is about. Today is that day. And when and if tomorrow comes for you, be even more powerful. Be stronger than you've ever been.
Don't give up on your hopes, don't give up on your dreams, don't give up on yourself. Just keep moving forward. If you think that you're going through something so bad right now, wait until tomorrow. If tomorrow comes for you, look at the person next to you. Look at people all over the world. If you ever come in contact with certain individuals, and ask yourself if they're going through a lot more than what I'm going through, because honestly, there are always going to be people that are going through a lot more than you're going through right now. When you're down, find a way to get up. I've been there, I go through it like anybody else, but I have a job to do in this world, and so do you. Self-discipline comes from within. It's a desire, it's being able to understand that you've got to get the work in.
Rectify in yourself. Believe in yourself. Keep that faith in yourself. Don't let the outside interference stop your growth. Don't let those that doubted you and said that you did not have it hold you back. Don't let the losses keep you down. Because if you're down, how would you understand what it means to get up? What is good about being miserable? What is misery doing for you? What has misery done for you lately? Has it given you everything that you need? Has it made you a better person?
You got to be willing to go further and harder than you've ever gone in your life. You can't depend on all the mechanical things, the alarm clock, your cell phone, or sometimes even people, sometimes just you. You got to be willing to wake up and be about your business on a daily basis. Let's just save for it. Example, you're the type of person that can't seem to get away from all of the cravings you can't do. This without this, you can't do this without that. You need your coffee, you can't stop. Eating chocolate, all of these things you keep saying that you can't do. Well, let me remind you, can never do anything for you in the first place. So discipline starts with you. You have to be willing to be hungry.
you.